Something interesting is happening with World Liberty Financial. A whale bought $25 million worth of the token. Now this wouldn't be that interesting for most other altcoins, but we all know how World Liberty Financial is driven by politics, is driven by some early investors, potentially also driven by insider trading. And so maybe some insiders know more about WLFI than the vast majority. It's already outperforming most other altcoins. Of course, the long-term chart doesn't really look that great. Initially, we got a sell-off and we haven't recovered that much, but that's also partially due to the general crypto market going down. This is WLFI relative to Ethereum, so the chain where the token is mainly listed. Yes, we still had our initial sell-off, but we've already recovered relative to ETH 100%. Now, what could be the potential trigger? Why would an insider buy into the token now, given that the price historically isn't really that cheap? The tokenomics of the project are very intransparent. We don't know when new tokens will be sold to a new tranche of institutional investors again. And we also don't see any growth of USD1. So that's the stablecoin that World Liberty Financial is issuing. Let's have a look at the on-chain data of the stablecoin. We've got one on Ethereum with 46,000 holders. We've also got a version on Solana with 77,000 holders. What we're seeing here is how much the stablecoin of World Liberty Financial is used on the Ethereum chain. On the left side, we've got the number of wallets with at least 1,000 USD1. Interestingly enough, there have been heavy spikes and subsequent declines in the number of wallets, but really retail isn't really that interested in USD1. There's only 361 wallets on Ethereum with $1,000 worth of USD1. For the $10,000 threshold, there are 163 wallets. For the $100,000 threshold, there are 67 wallets. By the way, if this is not your very first time watching this channel, then feel free to subscribe over here. I publish videos regularly, and when you're subscribed, YouTube is more likely to recommend the videos of this channel again. Here's the same data for Solana. It doesn't really look that different. Really, if we add the Ethereum and Solana numbers, there's only 1,000 retail investors with $1,000 worth of the token. Let's have a look at the same data for the WLFI token directly. So let's not look at the stablecoin, let's look at WLFI. So there's a version on Ethereum, there's one on the Binance Smart Chain, and there's another one on Solana. Here's the number of holders on Ethereum with thresholds that equate to $1,000, $10,000, $100,000. So this is the number of tokens that are being held. It doesn't really look like a natural development. In other words, the team or some insiders might have created some wallets and then removed the balance afterwards again. At least that's true for the Ethereum chain. Here's the number of wallets on the Binance Smart Chain. And here we've got Solana. So the numbers don't really look that impressive. There's not any long-term growth, neither among the stablecoin users nor among the holders of the World Liberty Financial token. So again, why is a whale buying 25 million worth of the token? There's not just the spot market, right? There's also the bets on the price, the perpetual futures. We had a massive wave of liquidations on the 10th of October. That's when the bets on the price went from 600 million all the way down to 200 million. And since then, open interest hasn't really increased. So people aren't really speculating on World Liberty Financial anymore. Also, the trading volume on the perpetual futures is not going up. Yet again, we see that purchase. And so really, we can only speculate. My hunch is that maybe World Liberty Financial will come out with some positive news. Maybe the development of a new project, maybe a new major investor. Something might come out, push up the price, and at that point we might see that whale selling the tokens again. There are a lot of possibilities, right? There are announced products that are still in development, a dedicated exchange, a dedicated borrowing and lending platform, a dedicated app. Any of those launches might create some excitement around the token again and push up the price. Really, all we can do is speculate. We are not insiders, but sometimes it might make sense to follow the smart money. And betting 25 million on a token like this is definitely quite a commitment. I keep watching the project very closely. It might even make sense to set up an automatic buying alert whenever there's a tweet coming out from the account. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time here on YouTube, or potentially see you also in Premium. This is where I share my own trades. Link to Premium pops up over here on the screen. See you next time. Cheers.